The truth that Meghan and Harry were expelled from the United Nations headquarters has been revealed. Hello, and a very sincere thank you for stopping by the Sussex Daily News Today channel. Everyone is aware that Meghan Markle is a slum child who has no control over the way she was raised. A person who is a part of the muck heap cult enjoys living on Mont Sinai because it puts them in close proximity to many successful artists in the hopes that some of their success will rub off on them. Unfortunately, it won't work out, much to her dismay. And while Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were in New York, they were asked to leave the United Nations building, and they were eventually led out by security. Awkward moments, disgraceful actions, a significant amount of focus. At the United Nations, it was embarrassing for everyone else, except for themselves. They considered themselves to be victims and sought pity from the officials of the United Nations. The United Nations Decentralized Network for the Support of Stability is in charge of providing security for the organization, particularly the protection of personnel, premises, and assets. According to what I've been told, both of them were asked to leave the premises because they were found to be in possession of recording devices that were neither authorized nor disclosed. To put it crudely, they were fired from their jobs, placed on the street curb, both of them together. At the United Nations, there is a strict policy that prohibits the use of any cameras or recording equipment. Reading and obeying the fundamental laws does not require a degree in rocket science. In particular, for someone who has a Bachelor of Arts degree from Northwestern University and whose husband is a former captain in the army. I will assume that both of the parties are literate. There are some people on Quora who disagree with the assertion that they were thrown out in an unceremonious manner on their entitled behinds and who claim to be employed by or affiliated with the United Nations. To what end? The UNDSS does not take a visitor's affiliation with the UN into consideration when making safety assessments. I can only wish that when they got that massive, embarrassing, swift kick in the nether regions, that it had been powerful enough to bounce them back across the great pond and into Britain, simply because we want them to leave. They insisted on receiving preferential treatment. They dealt with the peasants in the same manner that they did with their household staff. They wanted the United Nations to take their side and not the Queen's, but rather their own. Everything was going according to the plan. They entered through the door and sat down immediately. They begged for jobs, bossed the people who worked at the UN around, and waited for the boss. However, there was one thing that they forgot. As a result of their employment with the Queen, at one point they enjoyed a worldwide platform. They squandered their privileged life by dressing inappropriately, complaining unnecessarily, and listening selectively, which led to them missing out on many opportunities. The concepts of trust, faith, and respect were foreign to their sense of who they were as persons. They did not consider it to be a part of who they were. As a result, their behavior towards the Queen exhibited a high level of disrespect. It was for this reason that jobs were not made available to them. The fact that some UN staff members wore recording devices on their person created a problem for the organization. They did not meet with any high-ranking official. There was not a single job opening available. They were immediately led out the doors and out of the building. They were required to take the recording equipment away. It was conclusive evidence that this couple could not be relied upon in any way. Perhaps they were even warned not to return to the United Nations building. At the United Nations, Her Majesty received the highest honors and was regarded with the utmost reverence. Impostors were met with doors that were locked and closed. The majority of people are unaware of the fact that there was another royal at the United Nations that weekend. The speech was delivered by Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, who is an advocate for human rights. However, because those two attention-seeking individuals were followed everywhere, nobody was familiar with Queen Maxima. It is indescribably upsetting that she was eclipsed by someone else during such an important speech. It is highly likely that they were recording their trip for Netflix. As an American, I can say with certainty that this is not possible, and I suspect that individuals were informed of this restriction when they scheduled their appointment. Since Meghan Markle is an American, it is reasonable to assume that she was aware of this protocol. I believe that it was Harry's microphone that was discovered, and after that they were led out of the building. Naturally, there are some narcissists who believe that rules do not apply to them. Sometimes narcissists lose. The witch believes that because she is married to a prince, she is free to think and act in any way that she chooses. Wrong. What kind of mentality might that be called? A woman who lives on the street? You decide. There is no standard that can be applied to Meghan because she is special. Have you seen the pictures of her strutting into the United Nations building through the lobby? Therefore, a very important person who is acting like she is royalty while walking in front of Harry and everyone else. What exactly is wrong with this moron? She is a piece of work. She is, was, and always will be a minor player in the grand scheme of things in this world. In the meantime, Meghan Markle has no intention of conforming to the firm's expectations. Either she was going to alter it so that it was more in line with what she desired, or else she was going to leave. This despite the fact that Harry did say that the royal family would serve as the substitute family she never had. However, we are aware of how she feels about her family, which is not something she requires or desires. It did not take her very long to come to the conclusion that she would not be remaining. It was mentioned in multiple accounts that she was plotting her escape prior to getting married and working with PR firms to set everything up for when she and her new husband returned to the United States. We do not have any way of knowing what her purpose was. All we know is that she has returned to the United States. I am of the opinion that she is most likely to blame for the dissolution of the relationship between Harry and his family. We all know that Harry never had any intention of becoming a working member of the royal family, and that he was more than content to step down from his position. They were successful in obtaining what they desired, and they had the backing of the royal family. They had several problems with our most gracious Queen, one of which involved the word royal and the fact that she was not allowed to use it in her branding. However, the most significant issue was the interview that she gave to Oprah. Who does this, even if you are not a member of a royal family? Who goes out and makes all of your disagreements with your in-laws part of the public record? After that, Gayle King's program broadcast the conversation that Harry had been having with his father and brother. Really fantastic activities that can be done with the family. The manner in which she has conducted herself ever since she was kicked out of the royal family is far more despicable than the actions that she took when she was still a member of the royal family and working in the United Kingdom. It would appear that she is currently making an effort to blend in a little better by getting involved in United States politics. This is something that she is aware of being forbidden, which is possibly the reason why she is doing it. That whole discussion about the engagement was nothing but a present, an advertisement for a product that uses deception to attract customers. They were well aware that they would not remain and provide support for the Queen and her family. They also did not feel any remorse for their actions. Meghan's goals included achieving both wealth and fame. She attempted to accomplish this goal through acting, but was unsuccessful. After she met Harry, she understood that he was her winning lottery ticket. She had the impression that life would consist solely of social gatherings and being showered with adoration. But she soon realized that it would involve a great deal of effort and frequently be dull. It is said that she went into a rage after realizing that the royal tour to Australia would not be a glorified vacation with a couple of exciting events, but would instead consist of mostly boring work. After learning that their request for an in-out position had been denied, neither of them intended to stick around. Before the wedding, Meghan was in communication with Oprah Winfrey. Since she was aware that an interview would not be permitted, she did not see the point in inviting Oprah Winfrey to the wedding or continuing their conversation. She played Ellen for a fool by inviting her to Frogmore so that she could meet Archie shortly after he was born, and while she was there, she fed him a bottle. Therefore, Meghan had two major players lined up, the first one before the wedding and the second one not long after. In order to safeguard the firm, her PR company, Sunshine Sachs, her manager, and her lawyer were all hired, despite the fact that royal families traditionally keep these positions in-house. They had no intention of staying. This was the plan, and Harry was more complicit and responsible for the damage, as he knew the workings of the royal family, and they were his frickin' family that they attacked and continue to attack. They had no intention of staying, and this was the plan. My feelings toward Meghan are mixed. She is a con artist who is naive about the world, but I despise Harry because he is a betrayer of both the Queen and his country. A vessel that is empty and hollow, just noise, no substance. And you, are you on the same page as us? We would appreciate it if you would continue the conversation with us below in the comments section regarding Meghan and Harry, as we do as well. If you think my video is really interesting, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word about it to other people who feel the same way we do. And by subscribing to our channel, you will be notified immediately whenever the team at the Sussex Daily News Today posts a new video. Now, I'd like to express my gratitude to you for watching. Wish you a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.